Well, welcome 621. How are you guys? You guys good? You guys having a great night? Well, hey, do me a favor. Look to your neighbor and tap him on the shoulder and say, "Glad you're here." Do it. Glad you're here. You know what? We're all glad, so glad that you guys came out tonight, that you guys have joined us in the second week of the series on gravity. So like I said, we're starting the second week in gravity. And this series, it's based on the laws of life. The laws of life. And in the world of science, which was explained a little bit last week, a law just is. You can't argue with scientific laws because they just are. The example that was given to us last week was the example law of gravity. And the thing about gravity, the law of gravity is, if you climb up to the top of your house, on your rooftop, and you decide that you're going to jump off, even with a parachute, it really doesn't matter how much that you hope you can fly or how much time and effort you have prepared to fly for your flight. In a few seconds, you're going to find out and understand what the law of gravity really is. See, it doesn't care. And it will pull you straight down to the ground. And you're going to end up either with a broken leg, a broken arm, maybe a smashed head. That's just how the law works. And last week, Daniel opened us up. He talked about the law of magnets, a concept that says our friends have influence in our lives. And actually, it's so much more than that. It's so much stronger than that. See, because we become just like our friends. See, that's the law of magnets. Crowds influence us. And we need to ask ourselves, how is my crowd? In other words, who am I being influenced by? And tonight, we're going to be talking about another law. But first, I think I have a confession. See, for the longest time, I've always said that I was a dog person. I love dogs. I've trained dogs. I've rescued dogs. I've taken dogs with me because I love them. But recently I found a cat in my garage. It was a stray cat, right? I found a stray cat in my garage, and we took it to the vet. We had it checked out. It wasn't anybody else's. We had it vaccinated. We went through all of that, and we kept this cat. I love this cat. There should be a picture up there. I do. I love this cat. And what has happened is I evolved from a dog person into a cat person. I evolved, right? I know. I knew I was going to get that. Okay. But with that, now I've got that off my chest. Tonight, our law comes from the world of love. Our law comes from the world of love. And come on, who can deny how exciting a crush is? Think about it. Think about this. When you have a crush, you can't stop thinking about that person. Like it's totally crazy. I mean, you're trying to study for a test, and she keeps popping up in your head, right? Or you're going for that triple kill in Battlefield. And boom, there she is again in your mind. You can't stop thinking about her. And all of a sudden you're dead, right? Or maybe you're trying to get some sleep. And you're starting to relax. And your mind keeps imagining that you run into him in the hallway. And your books go flying all over the place. And you bend down to pick up your books, and you guys butt heads, and you look up, and there he is, and your eyes meet. and the fireworks go off, and he's on one knee, right? Right? So he's on one knee, and the fireworks go off, and it's love. It's love. See, we've all been there, right? We've all experienced this crush. But how many of you know what I'm talking about? Let's do a little survey. Everyone close their eyes. Everyone close their eyes. Everyone close their eyes. Cora, close your eyes. Everyone close your eyes. By a show of hands, who's had a crush on someone right now? Who has a crush on someone right now? Right? Right? Maybe like this video. Let's see this video and see what they say about crushes.
I think it's already starting.
I have fun at school.
Yeah.
What's your favorite class?
Spelling class.
Is it because you stare? Is it because Alicia sits in front of you and you stare at her the whole time?
No! She's not even in the class, dude.
I've seen her at recess and you were kissing her. And what the heck?
You have her phone number.
You have, what's her name? What's her name that gave you her phone number? That you call?
I didn't call. I was about to. A prank call.
Why would you prank call when you like her?
I don't. I was about to act like a Domino's pizza dude.
Domino's Pizza, you're an idiot.
No?
Well, actually, that'd be kind of awesome. We should probably do that sometime.
If you went on a pizza date with a girl, who would it be?
My mom. Oh!
Oh, okay. No, you have a crush on your teacher.
What? No, I don't. You're such an idiot. Hi, Mrs. Robertson.
I knew you had a crush on her.
No, I don't.
I'm not a lady.
That's
Yeah,
good.
you are.
No,
You can cut it.
I'm a lady.
So this video, it's funny, and it's silly, and we've all been there. We've all had these crushes. But here's the thing. Just like I evolved, right? I evolved from a dog person to a cat person. Crushes evolve. Have you ever noticed this? It's like a crush has a mind of its own. And that crush, it doesn't want to stay a crush. It wants something more with that other person. You want to spend more time with them. You want them to like you. You want to be close to them. Oh, hang on. You know what? That sounds like you want to date them. You want to date them. Oh, my goodness. I know this because if you have a crush on someone and they send you a Snapchat or maybe a PM or an IM, and they say that they like you too and they want to date you, there is no way, I'm talking zero chance, that you're going to say, nah, you know what? I just like having a crush on you. Nah, I just like liking you. Nah, I just like awkwardly watching you from across the room. Right? It has to be one way or another. A crush, either you develop a relationship with that crush, or that crush, it fades away. It has to be one way or another. And eventually, you're going to end up in a dating relationship. Maybe you've already been there. Maybe you're in one right now. But here's the thing about dating. It's complicated. It's actually pretty difficult to navigate through that dating relationship. It's actually, it doesn't always end well either. See, people break up. And where people break up, there's tears. People break up all the time. Not on all the time. Like, I feel like I'm off all the time. I don't know what's going on here. I just yell. But people break up all the time, and they hate the other person. And that's not okay. See, let's see if this is true. Raise your hand if you know somebody that was in a relationship and they broke up and they hate their ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, right? Why? Because dating is complicated. Dating is complicated. Am I changing? I think I'm changing. Let's see if we can do this on the move. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Better? Woohoo! I didn't shut that off. Right? All right. Now I can't put this in my back pocket either. So dating is complicated, but here's what I know. Here's what I know. No one has baggage from having a crush on somebody. But lots of people have baggage from dating. There are few, if any, scars from having a crush on somebody. But many people have deep scars from dating. Why? Because dating is complicated. You know what? I think it's a little bit dangerous too. I think that there should be a warning label put on dating, caution or warning. Dating is hazardous to your health. But what is hazardous about this? Better yet, let me ask you this. What is it about dating that often leaves people scarred and hurt? Myself, I think it's because people don't pay attention to one of life's principles. See, remember at the beginning, the concept of laws of nature, it is you can't argue with gravity. It just is. But tonight, I want to share with you a law about relationships. And if you pay attention, it will save you from a lot of heartache. If you learn this law and you apply it to your life, it will help you steer clear from the hazards and maintain a healthy relationship. It will help you steer clear of trouble and help you maintain healthy relationships. By respecting this law, you could be one of the few that get hurt. One of the few that doesn't get hurt, from dating. So what is this law? What is this law? I'm so glad that you guys asked. I'm telling you, you guys are awesome tonight. It's the law of glue. The law of glue, which states that intimacy, that's right, intimacy is glue. What is glue? It puts two things together. So I have some paper here. Glue puts two things together. And super glue, oh my goodness, it puts two things together and it's irreversible. It's irreversible. You can't undo super glue. When you try to do this, you tear it apart, right? And when you tear something apart that's been super glued, maybe I should show you guys. It doesn't come apart cleanly. It doesn't come apart cleanly. Part of one will be permanently part of the other. There will be pieces left that will be torn off and lost to that other one. That's how super glue works. It is meant to put two things together permanently. So that's glue. Not that you guys needed to be taught on glue or anything, but how about intimacy? How about this intimacy part? Intimacy refers to a deeper connection. A deeper connection. Being intimate involves the mixing of our lives with someone else's. It's the intermingling of souls, a sharing of our hearts with someone else's. This is something that we all long for because it's how God made us. And we were designed to connect. Another way to describe this is a oneness. A oneness. It's like becoming one with the other. It's a beautiful concept, and it was all God's idea. Check out Genesis 2:20 through 25. It says this, "But for Adam no suitable helper was found. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep, and while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. The man said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she has been taken out of man." That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united with his wife, and they become one flesh. God created the marriage relationship to be a beautiful reflection of himself. Three persons existing in perfect and intimate relationship. A deeper relationship, a oneness. A husband and wife reflect a relationship. The goal of marriage is intimacy, a oneness. And one thing that we have to understand is that the world is no longer the way it was supposed to be. This planet is broken. We are broken. We were once satisfied in God and the amazing gifts he gave us. We are now desperate. We are desperate for intimacy. We recklessly want intimacy. And that, my friends, is why a crush turns into dating. This is why you aren't satisfied with just having a crush. You want something more. Jeremiah, one of the prophets of Israel, wrote thousands of years ago something that still stands true to this day. He wrote this: "The human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is?" See, your heart is desperate for intimacy. It wants it really bad. And it will lie to you in order to get it. I know, a funny concept, the heart lying to you, but think about this. It's like it has a mind of its own. And it will lie to you in order to get that intimacy. And if you don't fight against your inclinations, your natural inclinations, you will quickly find yourself super glued to the person that you are dating. I get this. It's natural. It just happens. You're desperate for intimacy in your heart. Well, it will lie to you. But I'm not going to stand here and lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Intimacy is exhilarating. It feels so right. It is an amazing feeling to have an intimately close relationship with another person. It's supposed to be that way. And it's supposed to be permanent. In order to be intimate with another person, you have to be fearless and love them and put yourself at risk to be rejected. See, intimacy is the superglue that binds two people together, a marriage. And in a dating relationship, intimacy feels awesome in the moment. Oh, it feels awesome in the moment. But later, after things have fallen apart, it hurts. It hurts. I have a million stories that I can tell you from my life, from my friends' lives, of how they superglued themselves to somebody else, to a person that they were dating. And guess what? Guess what? They didn't marry these people. And when they broke up, it felt like they were ripped apart because they were. But here's a secret that nobody else is going to tell you. After you've been superglued to someone else, it is hard to be intimate with your next boyfriend or girlfriend. It is hard to be intimate with your next boyfriend or girlfriend. If you go around supergluing yourself to the people that you date, you will have a hard time next time when you go to marry your spouse 10, 15 years down the line. Why? Because when you're intimate with another person, it's permanent. You lose part of yourself to them. See, intimacy, it's supposed to last forever. Intimacy is like that super glue. And there are consequences, good and bad. Consequences aren't always bad. Consequences can be good. But there's consequences to gluing yourself to somebody. And with each person that you are intimate with, you lose a piece of yourself every time a breakup happens. That means time after time, there could be pieces of you left in the pathway of life that you've walked. Now, you have a choice. You can respect the law of glue, or you can pretend that it isn't real. It's your life, and God has given you the freedom to choose. But He designed life a certain way. And when we ignore His laws, we put ourselves at risk. If you want to respect the law of intimacy, you need to understand that there are two sides to intimacy, and they're both very powerful. Emotional intimacy, first off. Emotional intimacy is incredibly powerful. The relational side of a relationship is where you experience intimacy at the deepest levels. How do I know this? Because when He tells you that you're beautiful, that your eyes sparkle, or that He wants to be with you forever, you get butterflies in your stomach. You get all queasy. And you may do something that you'll regret. Words are the way to your heart. The emotional side of the relationship is where girls experience intimacy. But please be careful. Please be careful. Some guys are dangerous and know how to manipulate girls with their words to get what they want. And then there's physical intimacy. Physical intimacy. Girls, your bodies make guys dumb. Just telling you. The closer it is, and the more boys see it, the dumber they get. I promise you. The more likely that they're going to do something that they're going to regret. Boys experience intimacy at the deepest levels in the physical expression of love. Understand this. Your heart will lie to you. It will tell you that if you give your body to Him, you will feel something amazing. And you might, for a minute. And then you'll be glued to Him and pay the consequences for being glued to someone. You lose part of yourself in that tearing apart of intimacy. Your heart will lie to you. It will tell you to use words to manipulate her in getting what you want, her body. And for a short little while, for a short minute, you will have intimacy. But again, intimacy is like glue. Remember, it will hurt so bad when you are torn apart and you lose part of who you are. If you want to keep yourself from serious hurt after a breakup, you need to put boundaries in your life. In dating relationships, a boundary helps to keep identities and responsibilities separate. A boundary creates necessary space between individuals. Healthy boundaries define the expectations and show respect to the other person. The thing is, I've talked to a lot of teens and a lot of young couples about boundaries. Some do boundaries well. Others, not so well. But one thing that successful young couples have in common is that they set up boundaries before they date. Before they date. And they, as a couple, they review their individual and their couple boundaries together. And usually with the help of a mentor or somebody that's older. What I'm talking about are emotional and physical boundaries. Let me tell you a little secret about myself. Something that I regret from high school, from my high school experience. I regret telling girls that I dated that I loved them. And I regret every moment, everything I ever did from the line of kissing onward. Just being real with you. I truly regret those things. I wish I could take all those things back and give them to one woman, my wife. Each of us has the freedom to decide what our boundaries are and what they're going to be. Without setting boundaries, we have no protection from the glue of intimacy that the law binds together. And a word of advice in a dating relationship, a boundary unstated isn't a boundary. A boundary unstated is not a boundary. Tell him, tell her what your boundaries are. If you don't tell her or you don't tell him, you cannot blame them when they cross this line that they did not know about. Listen, I want to help you in this area. I really do. I want to help you set boundaries in your life, in your dating relationships. So then what should we do? Well, first off, Galatians 6, 4 and 5 tells us that, something that we need to set for ourselves. We need to set boundaries for ourselves. It says this: each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. What Galatians is saying is that you need to define your emotional boundaries. Define your emotional boundaries. Be very careful with the L word. It is far more powerful than we could ever think, especially for girls. It can easily lead to emotional intimacy, which can cause a lot of heartache when things fall apart. Understand that words are immensely powerful and create expectations and dreams in other people. See, because remember, glue is painful when it's pulled apart. Galatians is telling you that you need to define your physical boundaries. Define your physical boundaries. Think about what your physical boundaries are and what they should be. What do you want to be left to give to your spouse when you get married? In Songs of Songs, Solomon shares with us a little something that's worth pondering. Do not arouse or awaken love before it so desires. What standard do you feel like God is calling you to? When you are in a dating relationship, are you called to be physical or to live into the boundaries that you have set for yourself? To help you in this area, I just suggest that you would invite a friend in, a small group leader, a mentor, someone that you can trust. Invite them into the conversation. Write it down. Write out your boundaries. And you know what? Write it on a sticky pad and put it on your mirror, something that you can see daily as a reminder of what your boundaries are. And make sure that someone you trust knows about your boundaries. And last is tell him. Tell her. If you are dating someone, you need to communicate your boundaries to them. Again, a boundary that is unspoken really is not a boundary. Make sure or make this a regular practice in any dating relationship that you get involved in. Be clear of what your expectations are. Listen to what the psalmist had to say in Psalm 147, verse 14. Make peace in your borders. Make peace in your borders. In your boundaries, there will be peace. He fills you with the finest of wheat. When you set boundaries for yourself in your relationships, with everything you do, God will bring peace. And that peace will be abundant. It will be great and awesome. That's what it means by the finest of wheats. Thanks, guys.